let's go. Illinois, Nebraska. Okay. What do we learn about this game? One, Illinois probably is not a contender in the Big Ten, but I think a legitimate team to be worried about in that Big Ten. And then Nebraska on that side, Dylan Raiola is really good for a freshman quarterback. Really stinking good. Luke Altmaier handled the pressure of Nebraska's defensive line, I thought, pretty well, even though he got sacked 4 times. Third down, they were 7 of 13 on third down. This passing attack for Illinois, while the metrics don't necessarily scream that they're the best, I think they're very timely with it. Like Luke Altmaier is able to push the ball down the field to Pat Bryant, Zachariah or Zachariah Frank, or Zachary Franklin. Sorry, and they're able to just make plays. And last year you had two NFL wide receivers, and they're both went to the league, and now you're still staring at two really good pieces there. I'm loving what I'm seeing on the Illinois side. Um, yeah, but I mean that doesn't make me discouraged about Nebraska at all. I think power rating wise, yeah, you probably bump up down a little bit from where they were at after the dominating performances in previous weeks, but these are both probably equivalent teams in the Big Ten. Like if it was to pick this game again, we both picked Illinois to cover the spread, but we both thought Nebraska would win. I would probably, I don't know. I don't know. I would, Nebraska had a chance to close that game out and win it, but I don't know. It
Well,
would be a
it was
toss up for me.
listen, it was a little bit discouraging, and not that the fact that they lost, it was more so how they lost, right? It was just miscues, missed opportunities, and what has been the problem with Nebraska for way too long now. And you thought that was going to change this year. You thought that was going to change with Matt Rule. Penalties, miscues, missed field goal late in the game there. That would have been the go-ahead field goal. Obviously, you can't just rely on a college kicker. It's not going to be the reason why you lose a football game. A lot of other things had to do with that, but I almost come away, you know, kind of more impressed with both teams. I'm like, okay, Illinois is for real, right? Our vindication of them being a much improved team from last year is valid, right? And Nebraska also continues to play well, especially with Raiola and Dowdell on the offensive side of the football. Defensively, a little bit discouraging from that side just because I thought the defensive line would be able to control the football game. Illinois was able to rush the ball efficiently. Obviously, Luke Altmaier was able to wheel and deal back there behind his offensive line. But I think they're going to do that to a lot of teams. And they got a big time game this week with Penn State. And listen, it's on the road. I know that. But it's going to be interesting. It's going to be really, really interesting. Same thing goes for Nebraska, obviously, as they continue their trek to the Big Ten.
Yeah, Illinois definitely. I think they won in the transfer portal on their offensive line, and their defense just looks much improved. And we talked about how their defense improving was a big question mark because it wasn't good last year. But I felt like they had the pieces there now. The Aaron Henry, they didn't have the pieces to do what he wanted to do last year, but they do now this year. So we'll talk about, spoiler, we're previewing that game for this week. They're 17.5 point underdogs against Penn State. It is going to be interesting. I think it's going to be a very interesting game.